I'm going to start with a story you've probably heard a few times by now. You spot a cheap replacement part online, it looks like a bargain, you click buy, and a few weeks later you're staring at a cracked housing on the side of your John Deere, wondering why the deal turned into a day-long repair and a dent in your budget. Those cheap alternatives can feel like a gamble, and the regret that follows makes you wish there was a smarter, more reliable option. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When it comes to keeping a compact tractor on the field, especially models like the 1026R, 1025R, or 1023E, the housing isn't just a piece of plastic that you can toss in the junk drawer. It protects vital components, keeps the hydraulic fluid sealed, and ultimately stops the whole machine from grinding to a halt. That's why the first thing I looked at was whether the part was truly an OEM piece. The LVU29799 is stamped with the John Deere part number, which tells me it's designed in the same factories that built the original. That alone cuts down the odds of fitting issues or premature failures that you see with generic knockoffs. Who should actually consider buying this housing? If you own one of the listed John Deere compact tractors and you've either cracked the housing during a heavy mowing season or you've found a slow leak that's getting worse, this is the part you want. It's also a good fit for anyone who does their own maintenance and wants the peace of mind that comes from using a part that matches the original specs without having to reverse engineer a solution. On the flip side, if you're operating an older John Deere that predates the 1023 series, or you have a different brand of tractor altogether, you'll want to skip this one and look for a model-specific housing. The manual reference is there for a reason. You'll need to confirm compatibility before you spend. One of the practical strengths of the LVU29799 is the exact fit. Because it's an OEM component, the bolt pattern, seal dimensions, and mounting tabs line up exactly with the factory design. In real-world terms, that means you can bolt it on using the existing hardware, and the seals sit flush without you having to add shims or adjust the mounting points. I've watched a couple of farmhands replace this part on their own equipment, and the process is essentially a straightforward swap. Remove the old housing, clean the mating surfaces, slap the new seal in place, and bolt the new housing back. No fiddling with mismatched holes or having to order additional brackets. Another hidden advantage is durability. John Deere's OEM parts are engineered to handle the vibration and temperature swings that a compact tractor endures day in and day out. A cheap housing made from thin polymer might survive a few weeks, but under the constant load of a 60-horsepower engine it can flex and crack. The LVU29799's material composition, while not listed in detail, is the same as the original, meaning it has been tested in the field for years. For a farmer who can't afford a day of lost productivity, that reliability translates directly into saved time and money. That said, there are some practical downsides that are worth mentioning. First, price. OEM parts typically carry a premium over generic alternatives, and this housing is no exception. If you're on a shoestring budget and you're comfortable taking a chance on a non-OEM piece, you might find something cheaper, but you'll be trading that savings for the risk of a leak or a premature failure. Second, the packaging doesn't include the seals or any of the small hardware that goes with the housing. You'll need to have the original seals on hand or purchase them separately, which adds a small extra step. Finally, while the part is listed as compatible with 3 specific models, there's a small chance of a production variation where a particular tractor year has a slightly different mounting bracket. That's why the original equipment owner's manual is a good reference point before you click Add to Cart. A real-world use case that illustrates the value of this part is a mid-sized dairy farm I heard about where the tractor is used daily for moving feed and cleaning stalls. The previous owner had a housing that started developing a slow hydraulic leak after a particularly wet spring. The leak wasn't obvious at first, but over a few weeks the fluid level dropped enough that the hydraulic system started to lose pressure, making the front-end loader sluggish. The farmer replaced the housing with the LVU29799, and within a day the system was back to full pressure. Because the new housing sealed perfectly, there was no need for a prolonged bleed-down or additional repairs. The whole swap saved the farm an estimated 15 hours of downtime during a critical feeding period. Contrast that with a scenario where someone buys a cheap housing off a marketplace, installs it, and a week later the housing cracks at a stress point. The resulting fluid spill can contaminate